Cameras flashed in Toronto on September 4, 2025, and Ryan Reynolds walked the carpet alone. Blogs went feral, comment sections roared, and timelines wrote a breakup fanfic in real time. But the first twist is simple. The absence wasn't romance, it was legal war. Here's the snapback. Blake Lively wasn't dodging the spotlight. She was with her lawyers, preparing to fight her director and co-star Justin Baldoni over alleged boundary violations on set and what her filing describes as a coordinated smear. Baldoni denies it all, but receipts began lining up. The paper trail starts with an August 29, 2025 filing in Los Angeles Superior Court. The complaint lays out scenes, dates, and names. It describes a closed set rehearsal on June 12, 2025, where the intimacy choreo allegedly got tossed, and the director allegedly pushed into improvised contact that left Blake rattled. 2 crew members are cited as witnesses. That wasn't labeled a misunderstanding. It was labeled a pattern. The filing claims lines were crossed more than once, and when Blake pushed back, the pressure moved. Ops shifted from set to strategy. If the complaint holds, the human moment became a PR campaign. There's a second layer in the documents. The suit alleges that after Blake asserted boundaries, she was cut out of parts of a creative process she was owed as an executive producer. It claims alternate edits, downplayed her performance, and elevated his. That is not a vibes complaint. That is contract language, plus cut timelines. Now zoom out to the industry reaction. On September 2nd, 2025, WME cut Baldoni loose. Agencies do not jump for headlines. They jump for risk. A luxury brand paused a pending deal. Projects went quiet. People who once posted selfies went private. In Hollywood, silence is its own statement. Inside the cast, support gathered. Jenny Slate spoke out with clear, direct language that called the alleged campaign dark and wholly threatening. Colleagues who had worked near both of them started amplifying lines about safety, consent, and power on set. The "she's difficult" trope started losing air. Reporters did what reporters do. They went hunting for pattern. 2 sources from an earlier project described a familiar shape, blurred lines, pressure under the word direction, and NDAs locking lips after rap. No lawsuit then, but a theme now. When stories rhyme across years, juries listen harder. Baldoni's team countered quickly. They call the claims false and outrageous. They framed Blake as controlling, image-obsessed, and meddling in edits beyond her role. Selective messages landed in friendly outlets. It looked like a textbook crisis sequence. Deny, discredit, distract. And then came the mid-video reveal that flips a feud into a blueprint. On September 10, 2025, a leaked audio call surfaced, allegedly between Baldoni and his crisis handlers the day after the suit was filed. A voice identified as has talked about finding dirt, pushing it to blogs, and controlling the narrative. The phrasing matched the complaint like a stencil. If authenticated, that tape isn't a vibe. It's process. It tracks to a budget, a plan, and a calendar. It makes "she's crazy" look manufactured. It explains why a whisper campaign sounded the same across multiple platforms at the same time. That's not organic. That's orchestration. Public reaction swung hard. The hashtag dragged for days. Neutral voices slid to Blake's side. People who don't care about this movie cared about the playbook. Viewers can disagree about a scene. They don't like seeing a smear machine caught with the hood up. Sony moved in a measured way. The studio said it would meet release obligations for It Ends With Us, but it tightened publicity plans and skipped spectacle. That's a tell. Studios do not cancel press because of gossip. They do it when the PR math flips from upside to downside. Let's return to the core allegations, because the details matter. The complaint says the intimacy coordinator's plan was not followed at all times. It says a rehearsal meant to be controlled turned into improvisation with heavy physical contact. It says protections for sensitive scenes weren't respected. The more specific a filing, the harder it is to handwave away. Then there's the creative sabotage angle. The suit claims Blake's contractual input rights were sidelined. It alleges alternate screenings favored the director's performance. It alleges emails where her notes were ignored. If a jury believes that, the fight isn't just about safety, it's about ownership of craft. Baldoni's defenders argue context and consent. They say actors improvise, directors push, and art is messy. They say texts show mutual trust and collaboration. They point out that rough cuts always move pieces around. But that argument hits a wall if the documents show intent to sideline and smear. Inside Hollywood, this case became a referendum on intimacy protocol. The last few years produced clear standards, choreograph, document, and respect red lines, even for A-list stars. A verdict that draws a thicker line will ripple through every union memo and every rehearsal room. You can't improvise consent. That sentence will end up on a wall somewhere. The PR side may carry even larger consequences. If a court finds a willful campaign to discredit a whistleblower, crisis firms will rewrite playbooks overnight. Goes to talking points. Paid organic threads. Coordinated burner amplification. Things that were once savvy will read as evidence. There's also the hypocrisy tax. Baldoni built a public image around empathy and allyship, panels, podcasts, and quotes about listening to women. That branding made him bulletproof until it didn't. When receipts contradict the brand, the fall doubles in speed and height. Blake's public posture hardened into something simple. She skipped glow PR, canceled appearances, and stopped feeding the machine. She anchored to filings, witnesses, and dates. That discipline made her look less like a star chasing clout and more like a producer building a case. Discipline persuades. Ryan's solo carpet walk slots in like a symbol. He didn't rant. He didn't subtweet. He went to work, smiled, and left. The message between frames was obvious. Family first, court first, noise last. Old Hollywood would have staged a hand-holding photo. New Hollywood lets the absent speak. Receipts piled up in a specific order. Complaint, denials, an agency exit, a brand pause, a studio statement, then a leaked call and unsealed messages that mirror the allegations. Timelines matter because they show who reacts and when. They show which domino fell on which day and why. The defense still has moves. They can challenge authenticity. They can exclude recordings. They can argue context. They can say the edits were creative choices, not power plays. They can humanize with testimonials and set diaries. Trials get messy. Juries weigh credibility, not clout. But the industry already cast a vote with its feet. The WME drop burned through the town like a push alert. The award rescission from a women's advocacy group landed like a drum hit. Producers hit pause, not play. Money hates uncertainty, and this case spells risk in capital letters. Fans saw the same pattern in their feeds. Anonymous accounts repeated identical phrasing within minutes. Screen grabs showed near copy-pasta talking points with slight rewrites. That is not debate. That is a script. When average people spot the scaffolding, the building loses mystery. There's also the human piece. Crew members who witness something on Wednesday and have to clock in on Thursday carry that weight. Intimacy coordinators who see their plans sidelined lose authority the next time they speak up. Every set that handles this right strengthens the next set. Every set that shrugs makes the next report harder to file. As discovery opens, the hunt is for corroboration. Emails, calendars, file versions, export timestamps, and edit notes. The bones of a movie tell their own story. If one cut favors one person every time, that points to intent. If notes from one producer get buried, that also points to intent. Computers remember. The public wants a simple ending, but legal endings are layered. Settlements can include apologies, donations, and non-admissions. Jury verdicts can split counts. Appeals can stretch calendars. What doesn't stretch is a shift already underway. People in power saw what happens when receipts meet brand. For Blake, this is bigger than one film. It's a statement that an actor-producer can defend her work and her boundaries at once. It's a warning that difficult is a lazy label when a woman says no. It's proof that building a case beats winning a rumor cycle. She chose timestamps over trends. For Baldoni, the path back, if there is one, starts with the opposite of spin. It starts with accountability, not quotes. It starts with the people who felt steamrolled. It starts with recognizing that allyship is not a press tour. It is a set of actions when cameras aren't rolling. As the court calendar tightens, every new page will bend the arc. A witness corroboration, a judge's ruling on evidence, an email thread no one wanted to see again. Each drop shifts the odds. Each shift moves money, strategy, and reputations a few inches at a time. The culture fight will rage in comments and clips, but the real fight is on paper. People can debate tone. They can debate art. They cannot debate a verified export log or a sign set report. That's why the complaint came heavy with specifics. That's why the defense will try to throw them out. In the end, this story started with a photo of a man standing alone on a carpet. It became a record of how power moves when someone says enough. It became a clash between a brand and a binder, between a narrative and the receipts. The binder usually wins. It just takes longer. If the leaked call and messages are ruled in, the jury will hear strategy in the strategist's own words. If they are ruled out, the order of events still looks brutal for the defense. Agency out, brand out, studio cautious, colleagues speaking plainly. That is not the ending of a misunderstanding. Hollywood adores redemption arcs, but the price of one is steep. You pay with truth, not with tweets. You pay with change, not with talking points. If this case delivers a clear line around intimacy and a clear penalty for smear, sets get safer and campaigns get smarter in the right way. Blake Lively didn't ask for a crown. She asked for consent and creative respect. When she didn't get them, she asked for the record to speak. Piece by piece, the record answered. And each answer made the next move obvious. Justin Baldoni aimed to destroy Blake Lively, but ultimately destroyed himself.